Well, hello and thanks for joining us. My name is Renee, and this morning I'm speaking with Professor Peter Little of the Queensland University of Technology. Peter, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure, Renee.
Today, I guess what I'd like to ask you about is your perspective on leadership today. And my hope is that we can, approach that from a number of different angles. In your experience, as you look at different organisations and see different leaders, are you able to, pick up on or pinpoint some of the characteristics or the distinctions that are an indicator that you've got somebody there who's got longevity as a leadership kind of operating within them? Or is it more something that can be developed? So what I'm saying is, are you able to actually pick it up in people? Are there certain characteristics and certain distinctions that you can pick up in terms of leadership operating at a high level? Or is it more something that you can't really see it at first blush and it just develops as somebody is in a role?
I think it's a bit of both. I think there are some people who are naturally gifted leaders, but there are other people who grow to become very, very good leaders. I think if you don't have good people skills today, I fail to see that you have any longevity as a leader.
Right.
If you don't have vision, you won't last long as a leader. If you're not an agile thinker, you won't last long as a leader. Agile. You need to be agile.
Right.
You need to be looking at the fast-changing world and deducing from that, from what you see, you need to be then able to articulate how the organisation is going to succeed in the face of that fast change.
Right, almost thinking on your feet.
Well, continuously thinking.
Right.
Absolutely continuously thinking. And I say that leaders need to stop, look and listen. So many leaders, and certainly in Australia, I think a lot of our leaders are so operationally focused that they don't give themselves the time to reflect. So stopping, looking and listening is really about reflecting. Looking out onto the world, looking at what's happening in the world. What are the dynamics? What are the changes in globalisation patterns? What are the changes in technology patterns? What are the changes with the generations? Because the generations are changing. And how you distill strategies from that for your organisation is critically important. And yet so many people are grounded in the present. And I'm amazed, I read a research study a couple of weeks ago of nearly 1,000 global companies, and 41% of them didn't have disruption on the board agenda. Now, we live in the age of disruption. Everything is being disrupted. There's hardly anything that is not being disrupted.
Yes.
And 41% of the global corporations didn't have disruption on the board agenda. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's unforgivable. And so I say, the most successful leaders are those who are able to oversee the success of the present operations, but deliberately plan for the future. You can call it, if you like, future-proofing the organisation. Future-proofing, future-enhancing, whatever the title is. But it's very much about looking at the forces that are out there coming to get you and saying, I'm going to take responsibility for ensuring our organisation not only survives but thrives. And we're at the point now where the disruptors are themselves being disrupted. That's how fast the cycle is going.
Right.
And if you read the great book by Jim Collins, Great by Choice, the thing that stands out in that book, and that book analyses why a number of great corporations outperformed the stock market index by a factor of 10 over a decade. And he calls them the 10Xs. And the recurring theme in there is productive paranoia. This is a mental state, and it's in some respects almost transcendental. That is, it's taking a helicopter view of where you are. rising above your organisation and its immediate circumstances, looking down on the organisation, but also looking out into the world around you. And these people, these leaders said, we can see these forces coming together. We don't know when they will come, but we know that with all certainty they will come. And we will take responsibility for making sure that we meet them and we prevail. And it helps you to lift yourself out of the confines of the present and to see your organisation thriving in a fast-changing future. And this is what people are looking for. People are looking for that in Australia, as a community. People are looking for that in universities.
Yeah.
People are looking for that in corporations.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's what great leaders do.
Right. Do you think that future-proofing is something that's always been necessary, or do you feel like it's actually become more necessary due to technological and social change?
It's always been necessary, but I think in the past you could be a successful leader and you might have been a successful leader for 20 years, but because the pace of change wasn't so great, you were able to adapt quickly enough for your organisation to continue to succeed.
To be okay, almost.
To be okay.
Right.
The difference today is you can be wiped out.
Right. Okay.
That's the difference. It's the Kodak syndrome.
Uh-huh.
You can be wiped out. Not only might your sales flatline, you can be wiped out. And we've seen it with many organisations, many companies. We saw it with Kodak. We saw it with Nokia. I mean, in 2006, Nokia had 40% of the global mobile phone market, and the market was rising by 10%. And in their annual report in 2006, they said, we expect to maintain our market share. So a rising global consumption of mobile services will be able to maintain our 40% share. And in 2007, the iPhone hit the market, and it completely transformed mobile communication, because it was no longer about producing a phone, it was about producing a digital interactive device. And it had a market value of over 100 billion, Nokia. It was sold to Microsoft for 8 billion, and this year Microsoft wrote off the 8 billion. And that's in 9 years, less than a decade. Because
they didn't future-proof.
They were so focused upon the production of their phone and taking that basic technology, which was very good. They were brilliant at making mobile phones. They were brilliant at logistics, at getting those phones out into the global markets. But they didn't see that technology was racing ahead and the phone would become more than a phone. So it's not just about, well, keeping a little eye on the future. It's looking over the horizon. And as they say in Great by Choice, that productive paranoia, developing a state of mind that says the forces that are out there are so profound that they might wipe out my business. What do I need to do to thrive? Not just survive. And that's a very different mentality from being a leader 20 or 30 years ago.